From murders and arms smuggling to extortion, spying, and more, Uzair Baloch is a man whose name instills fear and terror. Born the son of an Iranian transporter, the notorious Baloch earned his title as a critical leader in the underworld of the southern Pakistan city, Karachi. Here is everything you need to know about Uzair Baloch's blood and crime-filled legacy, and find out where he is now. The making of a formidable gangster. Born in January 1979, Uzair started his political career in 2001 with the municipal election for the mayorship of Lyari, a small town in Karachi. Despite running for mayor, he lost to his opponent, HABIB HASSAN, of the Pakistan People's Party. Only 2 years later, Uzair's father, Faiz Mohammed, was kidnapped for ransom by Arshad Papu, the notorious son of an equally notorious Lyari drug lord, Haji Lalu. However, Uzair's hope was cut short as Arshad Papu brutally murdered Faiz. With his father's tragic and cold-blooded murder, Uzair set out to avenge his father's death and began seeking justice in court. Haji Lalu, in a bid to protect his son, began using his gang to threaten Uzair. He could no longer seek justice the legal way, and thus began his lifelong journey in organized crime. Uzair's first cousin, Remen Dakait, a popularly known gangster who also happened to be an enemy of Arshad Papu. To help his cousin avenge his father's death, Remen offered Uzair a place in his gang. At first he refused, but eventually he realized that they would be better off fighting their common enemy together. Uzair joined his cousin's gang and began a long-standing war against Arshad and Lalu. The gang war was so brutal that many members of the opposing gangs fought and killed each other, with casualties that reached well over 100. Uzair's ascension to power. In 2003, Uzair was arrested in relation to gang operations by the late CID SSP Aslam Khan. Because of his reputation and links with many people in high places of power, Uzair's arrest was short-lived. In fact, he spent no more than 2 hours in the Karachi Central Prison. Even in those 2 hours, the clever and cunning gangster was able to form strong ties by tending to a few Pakistan People's Party workers. By the time he left the prison, he had made some new powerful friends and earned protection. His release was with a condition of parole, and as such, Uzair got involved in social work. He went on to open schools in the area, thus becoming well respected in the community. Amidst Uzair's efforts to solidify his place in the hearts of the people of Karachi, crime was still at an all-time high, and extortion was the order of the day. Gang wars and clashes were also rampant and so dangerous that Uzair had to flee to Iran in 2006 to escape an operation against gangs in Lyari. In 2009, Uzair's cousin Remen Dakait was killed during a violent shootout with police. Following Remen's death, Uzair became the leader of the gang. At this point, he was garnering so much power, respect, and fear. After becoming gang leader, Uzair became involved in darker, deadlier, and larger criminal activities. 2012 saw Uzair get in a heated rift with the PPP, with who he was once allied. Owais Muzaffar of the Pakistan People's Party wanted to contest elections in Lyari, Uzair's home base, and he absolutely refused. This caused the rift between PPP and Uzair, and thus the PPP quickly launched an operation against him in April of 2012. The operation barely took off, though, as, after only a week, the PPP had to concede to Uzair's demands to pick people from his cadre to contest in the 2013 general elections. He didn't get his revenge for his father's murder until 2013, when he and his gang kidnapped Arshad Papu and his brother Yasser Arafat. The brothers were tortured brutally and then beheaded. After beheading them, Uzair's gang paraded their dead bodies through the streets of Lyari before finally burning them. The ashes were unceremoniously dumped in a sewer. The most brutal detail of Uzair's revenge was that he and his associate Baba Ladla reportedly played football with the severed heads of Arshad Papu and Yasser Arafat. Uzair, of course, felt that it was well justified, saying that it was the law of karma. What goes around comes around. Uzair, however, did not stop at avenging his father's death. His foray into organized crime was far too deep and rotten to just stop there. Chaos and Uzair's fall. Again in 2013, Uzair found himself fleeing to Iran once again. This time it was due to a targeted hunt for him. SINDH Rangers had launched a crackdown in Karachi against elements of organized crime. If you've been following along, by now you understand that Uzair was not only an element of organized crime in Karachi, He was a key player and leader in the ecosystem of organized crime. By virtue of his late father's Iranian origins from Sistan and Balochistan, Iran's Ministry of Intelligence, Vaha, contacted him as a dual Iranian citizen. They requested information on Pakistan's security apparatus and the political circumstances Karachi was in. In 2014, about a year after Uzair and his gang murdered Arshad and Yasir, the Sindh government turned their attention to Uzair. This was after his activities were brought to light over his scheming and involvement with Arshad Papu's murder. They issued Uzair's red notice warrants with a head bond of 2 million Pakistan rupees. Allegations against him were so grievous, ranging from more than 50 cases of extortion, mediated and targeted killings of police officers and gang members. The cases stacked against him also included extortion and terrorism. Following the issue of the red notice warrant against him, Uzair fled Pakistan. His escape was also short-lived as Interpol found him and arrested him at Dubai International Airport as he was coming from Muscat into Dubai. Interpol and the authorities in the Emirates held him in their custody as the Pakistani government sought to process his extradition. The ISI was able to use Uzair's network to kidnap Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav from Chabahar, a southern Iranian city on the coast of the Gulf of Oman. Jadhav was also arrested on charges of being involved with terrorist organizations and spying on Pakistan on behalf of India's intelligence agency. Mysteriously, Uzair's arrest took a shocking turn. A little more than a year after being arrested in Dubai by Interpol, he mysteriously surfaced in Karachi. Again, his freedom was short-lived. Late in January 2016, the Pakistan SINDH Rangers, a paramilitary law enforcement organization under the authority of the Interior Secretary of Pakistan, took Uzair into custody. His physical remand from the Sindh High Court had already been issued by the administrative judge for the anti-terrorism courts. Under the custody of the SINDH Rangers, he was held in Mithadar Hostel. The following month, Uzair's wife, Uzair Baloch, stepped in to file an application. In the application, she requested orders for his medical examination and for official permission to let their family members meet him. In the period following his arrest, Baloch reportedly confessed to many crimes, including having and maintaining contact with spies associated with foreign intelligence agencies. He also admitted that he was involved in land encroachment, extortion, illegally occupying over a dozen sugar mills, harassing residents, and commercially dealing arms. Uzair also confessed that he had carried out multiple assassinations on behalf of several powerful figures, including political figures in the Pakistan People's Party. The public was further stunned when he revealed that one of the political figures he carried out assassinations for was the country's former president, Asif Ali Zardari. Zardari was the 11th president of Pakistan and served in the office from 2008 to 2013. When you take a look at Uzair Baloch's life story, you could almost be tempted to believe that he stepped straight out of a Bollywood movie. A young, politically inclined man who has been scorned finds all means to attain power and get back at those who wronged him and his family. Sadly, the shackles of the criminal underworld are so tight and unrelenting that he can't get away. And as he goes deeper into the life of organized crime, the consequences of his actions begin to catch up to him. Uzair was handed over to the Pakistan Army in April of 2017 and remained in their custody for 3 years. The Pakistan Army handed him over into the custody of the police in April of 2020. As of April 2020, Uzair was sentenced to 12 years imprisonment after the completion of the military trial against him. He was acquitted of 18 cases as of January 4, 2022, despite being named in 67 cases. According to Pakistani media reports, Uzair still has an impressive net worth, despite being a known criminal and gangster. The reports claim that Uzair owns a sizable 4-story mansion in Lahore. The mansion reportedly had a lush indoor swimming pool. Apart from this plush 4-story mansion in Lahore, Uzair also has a house worth more than 1 million dirhams in Dubai, as well as an office in Dubai International City. This office is said to be worth about 500,000 dirhams. Uzair has a bungalow and plot in Muscat worth almost 1,600,000 dirhams respectively, and a property in Chabahar worth 10 million rupees. The properties are said to be registered under the names of his close relatives or friends, but never his directly. He also has 4 bank accounts in Dubai holding over 1 million dirhams, and acres of land in Chakiwara and Hub worth several millions of rupees. In August 2020, he was officially indicted for the murder of his long-ago rival and the murderer of his father, Arshad Papu. Uzair remains incarcerated at Karachi Central Jail, still answering to charges by the dozen. Thank you for watching.